When we think about the context of planning with a community, it's important to remember that the community views the planning as the process. So they see the process and they view planning as the process rather than the specific outcomes from the process. However, it is important to directly involve the public in the process, specifically in creating solutions. So while they think the process is in and of itself the end, creating and implementing those solutions should also include the public. And overall, solutions should be a reflection of public interest and values in the local community. So we want to learn from our past, plan right now, and involve the public and they're in the process and in the implementation of solutions to overcome issues. Here's a simple illustration that shows us the determinants of success for our plan. So we have to remember that managers get plans implemented, but they need to involve citizens and decision makers and business leaders in the community. Develop plans focused on citizens and community leaders' needs, thoughts, perceptions, and preferences. They should combine assumptions, values, attitudes, and whatever other aspects into the plan. Then, the use of recreational parks and leisure services, professional expertise in whatever we can. So if we've got different or various experts that can help us with our plan, utilize those assets. So let's talk about the plan a little bit more. So the strategic planning process always involves identifying internal and external strengths and weaknesses of the organization or agency. Then we want to identify future trends, opportunities, and problems internally and externally. Identify ways to innovate and create opportunities in the management and service provision. So what ways can we innovate and create new things from the management all the way down to entry level? Decision making using those staff who are closest to the problems, opportunities, participants, and facilities. So instead of looking at it just from a managerial perspective, go to the boots on the ground. Who are the people implementing these programs, facilitating these programs, running the facilities, and taking care of the areas? Those are the folks that we need to begin and keep involved with throughout the process. Then organizing tasks, setting priorities, goals, and objectives is a major part of the planning process. Here's another way to look at it is 7 basic steps to the planning process. From organizing, scanning, and scoping out the environment, establishing mission statements and broad goals, developing objectives, policies, and strategies, selecting critical issues or opportunities by which to focus on, doing an internal and external assessment. So these are some of the things we've just discussed in this presentation. Then we develop and adopt an implementation plan for our process and monitor the plan and scan the environment as we continue our proactive development of the plan into the future. In general, you want to make sure that recreation and parks have a place in different community and general plans for the city or region. So think about how recreation, park, and leisure services can be addressed within these plans, whether it's giving a statement regarding the development of the agencies from the programming areas, facilities, and resources, all the way down to providing your objectives and standards and how you will grow as an agency into the future. Let's list out 8 different aspects of effective parks, recreation, leisure services planning. So these are elements that should be within your planning process and planning documents. Number 1, your planning should be based on local values. So you need to get information from the local constituents, whether that be leaders, participants, and residents, or a broader audience. Your planning should reflect local approaches to problem solving. So there should be different themes within the local leadership on how to overcome certain problems. Your plan should reflect broad public participation. And this is where we really want to gather information from as many sources as possible. We can go to the mayor and get information, but that's one source, and that should not be our only source. We should look at people who are participating, people who are not participating, residents from every aspect of the community, and that includes different demographics in general. Then you should absolutely include who's doing what in your community as far as leisure use. So that's within and external to your agency. What are people doing in their free time in your community? Next, we want to make sure that whatever recommendations we offer are clearly defined. So we want to clearly define the issue that we're addressing and clearly define our path to overcoming that issue or solving that problem. Any plans and the issues that we mark out should be clear and to the point. So do not be vague. Be very specific. Finally, your planning must reflect the leadership that you have in your community and a commitment to developing this plan and instilling and initiating the plan. And your plan must be practical and realistic. And that's a very important part of that, is to make sure that you can attain the goals and overcome the issues that you've set out in your plan. Overall, we have to remember that there's a direct relationship between decision making and planning. The planning process is oftentimes more important than the plan and outcomes produced. That helps you with a sense of ownership from the community and internal to your agency. Interaction of staff, management, citizens, and decision-making people make the plan useful in managing the recreation parks and leisure organizations or agencies in your community. Again, it helps create buy-in, commitment to, and ownership of the plan. That concludes our presentation on planning for recreation park and leisure services.